Hello everyone, it's Saturday and you know what that means. Live from Michael Gove's hometown, Aberdeen City, Scotland. It's me, Steve Smith, and I'm here to review the biggest episode of Rampage AEW has yet to show, Grand Slam Rampage. I was hyped for this show. In many ways, it felt like this may be an even better show than Dynamite was this week. I mean, Dynamite had some of the better matches. Obviously, it had one of the best matches television has seen in many years, but there was a lot more exciting matches on this show. So I was hyped to get to it. I was hyped for the show, and I was looking forward to seeing what we were going to get from the second Arthur Ashe show. So before we start, housekeeping time. Housekeeping. WrestleBuddy dropped a new interview last night by one of the coolest wrestlers the industry has ever seen. The apple-loving Carlito. Well, I don't know if he actually loves apples. I was supposed to be doing that interview, but it ended up happening at a time that was just not not doable for me. I was going to ask him if he actually liked apples. I don't know if it was asked. I've yet to watch the interview, but I've heard nothing but good things from it, and it's got a lot of people watching it, so go and watch it. Watch the review, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, turn them on so that way you know when I'm going live, and yeah, check out all the other content on the WrestleBuddy YouTube channel, and check WrestleBuddy.com for all your wrestling news and rumours. So, as this was the second AEW show from Arthur Ashe Stadium, I don't need to talk about the venue. We know it's awesome. It was an amazing sight. So instead, let's get right to the show. Now, I watched this on Fight Plus. Obviously, I'm in the UK. Weirdly, they had split the show into two separate videos, like a part one and a part two. Okay, I guess. I guess it makes it easier to review. And I guess that in terms of television ratings, it'll look a bit different for them. It might give them two separate ratings, bump it up, bump it down. I don't know. We're going. It's the sort of thing we've got to wait until Monday till we find out what happens with the ratings. But I mean, ratings are ratings. They're not the be all and end all of everything. Ratings are an approximation of the people who watch, and that's that. On commentary tonight, we had Taz, Excalibur, and Ricky Starks. A combination that should keep many people happy. Obviously, there's a lot of complaints about Jericho on commentary these days. A lot of people are not a big fan of Jericho's commentary. I think he's entertaining, he's comical, he's funny, but man, it can be too much sometimes. But this week, obviously, he's in a match, so he's not on commentary. Match 1, CM Punk versus Powerhouse I can't speak today. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs with Hook at ringside. So, we started the show with one of the bigger matches. CM Punk's first match on television in about 7 years, give or take a month. And it's his second match since returning to wrestling. Powerhouse Hobbs is a machine. CM Punk is the best in the world, or he was, he still is, he's still really good, it seems. And this had the potential to be a fun match. Punk started this match full of fire and targeted the legs of Hobbs with a volley of kicks. Try to take him down, try to chop a tree down. He made a run at Hook, who was at ringside, and this gave Hobbs the opportunity to cut him off and to get his own brand of big, meaty heat. I really like Hobbs. He's a big, imposing guy, and he looks mean AF. Although, it was hard for him to hide this. I mean, he's trying to look all mean, but you could see him grinning at the fact that CM Punk was coming out to have a match with him. Can't really blame him. I mean, I bet for him having a match with CM Punk must have been a bit of a dream for him. So that's cool. Punk previously said that he wanted to get the next generation over. He wanted to help push people that hadn't pushed yet. He wanted to help give something back to wrestling, and this is exactly what he was doing in this match. His selling in this match was great. He looked like he was feeling it. He looked like he was taking a beating. He made, I mean, at times he was on his face. If you looked at selling, it looked like he made a mistake coming back because he was taking a beating. His selling, in my opinion, his selling is better now than it was in WWE. And I mean, he was always really good in WWE, but there's just, I don't know, a few more years on the clock, a bit more thinking, and yeah, his selling seems a lot more natural these days. It was always good before. No, I'm not saying it was always awesome before, but it just seems a little bit better now, you know. During the match, Punk managed to fire back from the beating he was taking from Hobbs. He hit the Macho Man elbow from the top rope. He followed this with an attempt at the GTS, but Hobbs countered this with a sweet as hell spinebuster for 2.5. And then we got a little more big heat from Big Hobbs. He really is a powerhouse, you know. Damn, he's really good. The finish came after Punk misdirected Hobbs, making him run into Hook, who was standing on the apron, and then he hit the GTS and put the big man to sleep. This was a fun match. There were a few spots in the match which looked a bit clunky, mainly towards the start of the match, and somewhere along the line, I didn't see what. I don't know if it's maybe been edited off or what, but Punk managed to sustain a burst lip or a burst nose or something that led to blood being on his face and on his wrist. I don't know what it was. I didn't see it was, but that's wrestling for you. You know what I mean? As they say, it ain't ballet. It was not as slick as the match with Darby Allin. However, it's hard to compare matches, the two matches, as Darby has not had a bad match whilst being at AEW. All his matches are fun. He's a really good wrestler. Regardless, it was a fun way to start the show. It was a good start. I liked it. I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was an alright match. It was entertaining. There was a brief Vicky and Nyla Rose video. I didn't really pay much attention to that. They've got a match coming up, something like that. I don't know. But regardless, it was just very short, like 10-15 seconds, and we moved quickly into the next match. Now, the next match was super entertaining. It was the Super Click, that is the Young Bucks and Adam Cole versus Christian and the Jurassic Express. We had no time to rest here, straight into the second match, and what a match this was. I was hyped for this. I'm a big fan of pretty much everyone in this match. I love the Bucks, I love Cole, I love the Jurassic Express, and I really think Christian's awesome too. He's one of the few wrestlers who, when I've been to a live show, connected. I was like, man, no way. And it clicked in me that he's super, super awesome. You know what I mean? Basically, what was happening was me and my friend were sitting chanting CLB, only people in the crowd chanting it, and he just gave us both the best death stare, and I was like, man, I feel part of this show now. Awesome. Can't say enough good things about Christian. Hearing 20,000 people do the Adam Cole baby bit, and Adam Cole baby bit, and singing and waving along to the Jungle Boy theme was something else. Don Callis was on commentary for this match, and that is always a good thing. He's a brilliant commentator. If you want to hear loads of really good Don Callis commentary, go and watch his old stuff when he was Sirius Cyrus. I don't know how it's pronounced, in ECW. He was brilliant back then as well. The match started with Christian and Matt Jackson, who for a few minutes had a pretty normal wrestling match, with Christian getting all his usual spots in, but quickly the tag was made to Jungle Boy, and as I suspected, here ends the part where I'm able to cover this spot for spot, as it just went bananas. It was great. Both Bucks went at Jungle Boy, but he managed to arm drag them both out of the ring, and everyone started fighting. It was a melee. Melee. One of the best spots of this match, at least comedy wise. Cole had Jungle Boy on like a camel clutch in the middle of the ring. The Bucks were standing at each side of Jungle Boy, and they were teasing as if they were going to go for a double super kick, and they started running the ropes. Run the ropes like 3 or 4 times. Then they both stopped next to Jungle Boy's head. But instead of kicking him, they both kissed Adam Cole in the face. I thought it was hilarious. Then they both did backflips and drop kicked Jungle Boy, because of course it's the Young Bucks. This is possibly the most extravagant triple team spot I have ever seen. It was cool. I really liked it. We went to a break here. Can you believe that even on Fight we got the breaks here? There was no picture-in-picture this week. Yeah. I would have preferred picture-in-picture, but the breaks are actually... They give us a break. They give me time to write some stuff down. Coming back from the break, Super Click had the Super Elite had the advantage, but Jungle Boy was able to counter much of it and get the hot tag to Luchasaurus, who threw everyone around. It looked like the numbers kick was going to win. The numbers game was going to win over the big dinosaur, but he managed to dodge a Buck super kick with a backflip, and then dodge Cole's super kick with another backflip before taking them all out. Super impressive. One of the spots of the match, in my opinion, was when Jungle Boy countered more bang for your buck by running up Matt Jackson's back, hitting a hurricanrana off the top rope on Nick, and then followed this with a German suplex on Matt. This was then followed directly after with a flying headbutt by Cage onto Matt Jackson for a 2.5 count. It was a good match. There was another really cool 4-man spot. Christian and the Bucks were outside. Jungle Boy hit a roll and flip thing on Matt, which was followed with Nick hitting him with a super kick, and then Christian hit Nick with a spear. This was on the ramp, actually, not the rampy stage. All the screens, super cool. timing was spot on in this match. With everyone else down at this point, this allowed the Bucks to hit Christian in the balls and throw him off the stage. And then they threw Jungle Boy off the ramp. This all led to the finish where Cole and the Bucks had Luchasaurus in the ring alone. Cole hit the Shining Wizard in the Panama Sunrise flip powerbomb. Then the Bucks came in, BTE trigger by all three men for the win for the bad guys. So this was a very entertaining match. It was a really good trios match. I've seen way better trios matches, but I did enjoy it. It was really good. Everyone looked great. It's really hard to find any sort of criticism to the match. It was just a really good match. It could have been better. It could have been a lot better, but it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. It was a really good. It was a fun match. It provided everything I needed to be happy whilst watching a wrestling show, which is the aim of the game here. Next up, we went right into the inner circle. That was Jericho and Hager versus the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, with Dan Lambert at ringside. The Judas sing-along for Jericho and Hager's entrance at Arthur Ashe was amazing. I got goosebumps. It's hard to believe this was like the third or fourth hour of the taping because the crowd seemed really quite hot. What was it? 20,177 people singing Judas. So cool. It was good to see Jake Hager wrestling for a change. It's a rare sight. Barely ever see him wrestling. I think he's wrestled maybe twice in the whole time AEW's been about. It was also quite rare to see Scorpio and Page wrestling, as for weeks, if not months, it seems they were doing nothing but standing beside Dan Lambert while he cut promos. The Men of the Year looked really good in this match, working as a cohesive team. We also had matching gear now, which I like. They gel really well as a team, I think they've got legs. I think they can go far. The bad guys got the heat on Jericho for a large portion of the match before Hager got a hot tag, although Jericho was early for the tag, so it was a bit mistimed, and Hager ran wild. Hager, later on in the match, this time, at the right time, got a hot tag to Jericho, who had his turn of running wild and taking everyone out, hitting the lion salt, which looked really good at this point. Hour 1 finished and the show went to a break with Scorpio in Hager's ankle lock and Page in the walls of Jericho. It looks like they were splitting it for ratings. I don't know. I had to go and start playing episode 2 at this point. The finish to this match came after Dan Lambert hooked a leg and Sky managed to get a roll-up pin on Hager. So that was that. Post-match, the Inner Circle took out both of the Men of the Year and dragged Lambert into the ring. They were going to do him in. This led to America's top teams Dos Santos, Paige Van Zant, Andrei Arlovsky and Jorge Masvidal coming to the ring to save him. I would have ran then. If I saw them three coming to the ring, I would have ran. Jericho and Hager tried to stand tall against them. They had no chance. They're UFC stars. Some of the top MMA fighters on the planet at the moment, and they proceeded to beat the crap out of the Inner Circle. You had Paige Van Zant giving Jericho punches, and then Masvidal ended the beating by giving Jericho a massive and a bloody cool looking running knee strike. It really looked awesome. American Top Team are not a team to be messed with. It's a really good, it's a stable that's full of UFC fighters. I like it. The match was pretty basic. It was fun at parts. It wasn't a mad blow-away match, but it was entertaining all the same. And it seemed this was more about the post-match and just American Top Team stamping their authority on AEW. Who's going to mess with them? They've got Junior Dos Santos, Jorge Masvidal, Andrei Arlovsky, and Paige Van Zant. They've got literally someone to beat up everyone. They could destroy every team. No way. I would run. I was a big fan of Dos Santos when he was in his prime in UFC. He is not to be messed with. The other ones are also at the peak of their games. Again, they're not to be messed with. Next up, as I predicted last week, it was an 8-man tag between the HFO's Private Party, Butcher and Blade versus Santana Ortiz and the Lucha Brothers. Proud and Powerful came out in Warriors, like the movie Warriors themed gear, bottles in the hands, baseball tops and stuff. And this got a huge pop as they're the hometown guys, and New York loves their own people. Lucha Brothers also got a massive response here. Before we go on, did anyone see Matt Hardy's social media the pictures he posted on social media with him and Rebby. Ooh la la. Now, this match was a beautiful brawl all over the shop. Quadruple dives to the outside and all sorts of awesome stuff. Lucha Brothers, Santana and Ortiz worked really well together, with all of them hitting their tag team spots, but with members of the other team. So, like, I think it was Penta and one of Proud and Powerful, and it was really cool. At one point, Ortiz was out the ring and Hardy threatened to cut off his ponytail. This led to Orange Cassidy appearing on the ramp for a huge pop, followed by him taking out Jack Evans and casually walking away, as he does. The show went to a break here. Annoyingly, us Fright viewers, we never got the picture-in-a-picture. I wish we did, but yeah, I've already talked about that. When we came back from the break, Proud and Powerful were running wild on the HFO members, which led to Penta coming in and hitting all his big spots. The finish came when Mark Quinn went for a shooting star press on someone, I forget who, but they moved, which led to him landing it on his feet. Like, I've never seen anyone land a shooting star press on their feet. It was very cool to do. But he got caught with the Lucha Brothers, who hit their package pile driver top rope foot stomp combo, and this ran into him eating a street sweeper from Santana on Ortiz for the win. Considering the amount of people involved in this match, this was fun, action-packed. It was a big match feel. Everyone looked good, and the crowd loved it. Post-match, we went backstage to Tony Schiavone, who was interviewing Matt Hardy, who was annoyed, hyping up, and he wanted to hype up the match between Penelope Ford and Anna Jay later on in the show, before challenging Cassidy to a hair versus hair match. I mean, I'm sure we've done this already. Now, however, this hair versus hair match was not between Cassidy and Matt Hardy. It was between Jack Evans and Orange Cassidy. Jack Evans wasn't too pleased by this announcement, so who knows where this is going. I guess the eventual Matt versus Orange hair match is going to happen, like at Full Gear or something like that, if we ever get it. I hope we do get to the Matt Hardy Orange Cassidy match. I hope that we get our first hair versus hair match between Matt and Jack Evans, and Jack Evans ends up having to get a skinhead. You know, it would be comical and it would help us build the big match. They've been building this for weeks now. They've been building this since All Out. So it's been quite a strange build for this hair match, but it is progressing at least. Following the match, Sammy G and Fuego del Sol came out onto the stage, and Sammy started to cut one of his flashcard-based promos, but behind them, they didn't notice, Miro appeared on stage and proceeded to beat the ever-loving crap out of both of them. At one point, Fuego tried to jump on Miro's back and put him in a sleeper, but in return, he the biggest Beal I have ever staged. Miro just threw him off the stage. Guy got air off the stage through a table. He dead. What the hell? Miro then locked Sammy in game over on the stage. Next week's match should be fun. Of course, it's Sammy Guevara versus Miro for the TNT title. Miro's a monster, so I doubt he's going to lose it, but either way, it should be a really, really good match. There was then a short promo video by Andrade. The gist of this is he's still unhappy about Chavo interfering in the Pac match. He wants to beat Pac again, but without the help of anyone. I guess we're going to rematch for this down the line, and it should be good. Next up, it was Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay. This match started on the ramp. Penelope came out first, and Anna Jay came out second. No, sorry, I got that wrong. I got that mixed up. No, did I? No, Penelope came out second, and while she was walking down the ramp, Anna Jay jumped her and started brawling on the ramp. She quickly went into the ring, and yeah, Anna Jay was just beating Penelope around the ring. It was good. Anna Jay looked full of fire here, and quickly she went for the Queen Slayer sleeper on Penelope, but Bunny came out and distracted her, which led to Penelope taking control as we went into the break. The finish to this match came when Bunny managed to distract the ref and throw the brass and she threw, whilst she pulled the ref to the ropes, and while the ref was distracted, she threw the knucks behind her. She knocked out Anna Jay. 1, 2, 3, it was the win. Post-match, Bunny and Penelope were beating up on Anna Jay until Ty Conti came out. However, the Bad Girls quickly regained control and they knocked Conti with the brass knuckles as well. The rest of the HFO came out to gloat over the victory of Penelope and Bunny, and this led to Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander coming out. followed by the entire Dark Order coming to make the save, which was cool to see. Commentary pointed out that Anna Jay looks to have brought the Dark Order back together, although the dissension is still there between the factions in the Dark Order. One side of the faction went to shake hands with the other, but Evil Uno didn't want anything of it, went out of the ring, started walking away. Colt Cabana looked confused. Grayson was like, come on, man, what are you doing? But he just went away. It's interesting to see where they're going with the Dark Order thing. I think that this is going to lead to Wyatt, Wyndham coming in, Bray Wyatt, former Bray Wyatt coming in. I think we're going to get, this is something I booked in my head when we knew Bray Wyatt had left WWE. It would be good to see Bray Wyatt coming in, one side of the Dark Order, bring him in as their new spiritual leader sort of thing, whilst the other side of the Dark Order, like 10 and all that, they're like, no, he's not the leader. Brody was the leader. He will always be the leader. And we're going to get this sort of lead up to a Dark Order versus the Darker Order feud. A bigger Dark Order feud thing, It would be cool. Dark Order versus Darker Order. I think it works. I think it works and it would be good. And I think that Wyndham would be a perfect person for this role because he's such a good spiritual leader. Obviously, he was the leader of Brody, so you could tell that in the story where he was Brody's leader. He was Brody's spiritual leader. So by rights, would he be the best person to come in and be the bigger spiritual leader, the bigger boss of the Dark Order? I think it would work, I think it would work. Now, it's time for the main event. We went to the customary Mark Henry interview between both teams. This quickly broke down with Kingston cutting off Suzuki with an awesome rant. Moxley and Kingston just want to fight. There's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. So this was a lights out match. This means there was no rules. Even cooler, this segment was given like 25 minutes. We had the commercial break in the middle of it, but that's okay. I just want to say here, I love what they do with lights out matches. I love how they put Roberts in the ring and he does the speech, how this is a lights out match. When the lights go out and come back on, this will be an unsanctioned, blah, blah, blah. I love that they add that little bit of drama to it. It's a nice touch, and that's exactly what they did here. So Suzuki and Archer came out first to a huge, huge pop. The fans got to sing Kazi ni Nare. Everyone was happy with this. For some reason, AEW had decided to have a group of young boys, or as they described them, ring attendants at ringside for Minoru Suzuki and Archer to beat the crap out of. Now, this happens on New Japan shows. Minoru Suzuki's famous for beating up all the young boys. Young boy is a term for like a wrestling trainee from Japan. And Suzuki and Archer always come out and beat the crap out of the young boys at ringside. So it was good to see that. Mox and Kingston came out second, but Suzuki Gun jumped them as soon as they came through the barrier. Eddie was so over here. There was so much big Eddie chants in this match. It was really good to see, really good to hear. I like it. The first in-ring part saw Eddie and Suzuki going shot for shot, although Suzuki was no-selling everything and laughing them off. Eddie was selling the chops, but still fighting, Eddie eventually got the better of Suzuki somehow, ended up going outside, getting a table, setting it up in the corner, but it was him who went through it. Poor Eddie. Moxley then came in and tried to take on Archer and Suzuki, but they both got the better of them. Archer went to beat up the attendants again, which conveniently got them all in the same place, to which he chokeslammed Moxley onto them all from the apron. Another really cool spot. As we went into the final break of the show, Archer had took a leather strap from under the ring. First of all, they started hitting Moxley with it, and then Archer put it around his neck and hung him over the top ropes. It looked horrible. But I mean, it's a lights out match. There's no rules. It's allowed. When we came back from the break, Suzuki Gun had taped Moxley's hands together but behind his back and were hitting him with a leather strap. Minoru then wrapped the strap around Moxley's throat, choking him out with it. Then he locked in a single leg crab on Archer. Obviously, there's no tap outs in this. There's no way he could tap out because his hands were tied behind his back. It looked savage. Moxley took an absolute beating at this point. Eddie tried to make the save, but Archer just beat the crap out of him. It looked like Moxley was in a no-win situation here, eating cane shots, straight punches to the face, and even bites in the face from Suzuki with his hands tied behind his back, all while Archer kept Eddie out of the ring with cane shots over the top ropes. Savage match. Eddie eventually got back in the match, however, started laying chops into Archer and Suzuki-gun, managing to regain control before Suzuki-gun started beating on him again. Now, there were a lot of weapons in this match. Suzuki set chairs up back to back, and Eddie was sat on the top rope. Archer then, I forget what his finisher's called. It's the Razor's Edge when he flips them. They set the chairs up back to back, spine to spine, and they were going to do that move, the Archer finish onto the chairs with Eddie. If he did that, it would have bloody broke his back. It would have been savage. But before he could, some music played, and Homicide, New York's own Homicide, came out and made the stage. He entered the match, saving the day for Moxley and Eddie Kingston. What an entrance. The crowd went off the hook for this. It was really cool to see. He came in, grabbed a chair, started taking out Archer and Suzuki with it. He cut the tape off Moxley's wrists. Eddie then beat up Archer. Then the finish came soon after this. Eddie managed to get the better of Archer with a trash can, hitting him over the head with it. He then put Archer was lying face down at this point. Eddie put the trash can over his head and with the cane just started beating the crap out of it. Like, I don't know how, there was way over 20 shots here. By the end of this, the can was totally flattened in. It was awesome. He beat the ever-loving poop out of this. And this led to Eddie getting the pin and the win. Hey, the good guys ended the win. The New York lads stood tall at the end of the match. Everyone was happy. It was a super fun match. It was a great way to end the Grand Slam show. At the end of the match, Homicide celebrated the win with Eddie. It was cool. It was good to see two of New York's most well-known wrestlers who have never been on the big stage of WWE finally getting their time in the limelight and their time in front of an audience of 20,000 plus fans. As expected, Grand Slam Rampage was in many ways a more exciting show than Dynamite was. Sure, it did not have matches that came close to the wrestling clinic we had between Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, but what we did get was amazingly entertaining. And the main event put a real perfect full stop on the show. You know, it was a perfect way to end that 4 hours extravaganza. Grand Slam week was a success. What can we say? AEW Dynamite got a really good rating, and I expect Rampage to get a decent rating as well. And with that, we are done for the week. So remember, tell me in the comments what you thought of this week's Rampage. Tell me, what was your favourite match? I want to know. Tell me about Rampage. Tell me what you thought about Rampage. Tell me what you thought about Dynamite and just Grand Slam week in general. Subscribe to the WrestleBuddy channel and turn notifications on. Check WrestleBuddy.com for all your wrestling news, and I will be back next week with more AEW Dynamite reactions and reviews. Follow me on Twitter at Broke Britannia. Take it easy.